Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Oh, man.
We are starting. Here we are.
10:30 on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday. I don't know what we're going to do next week, by the way.
Oh, really? Are you just out all week?
Well, I'm out, and then I'm off to Peoria. I think we might have to do another 10:30.
Okay.
But it's, yeah. Hey, I'm Jackie Cation.
You know what? It's none of your business who I am. I'm tired of having my privacy violated left and right.
Exactly. You guys, we all did flappers. We did a Jackie
Oh, my
and Laurie
God.
team show.
I guess I missed Kyle's sets.
Kyle's sets were great.
So, first of all, you have sexy voice still. I mean, you
Oh, it
were
was
barely able to talk on the Saturday Late Show.
Saturday Late Show was brutal. And I didn't talk Sunday or Monday. It was a blessing for Andy Ashcraft. The silence. I said it before you
know
did.
what? You still did 4 podcasts, even though you didn't talk. You just showed up and nodded.
Right. I'm like, what else? How else can I discuss?
So, what do you have? Like just a extended cold?
I thought it was. I literally today went in and I gave Kaiser Permanente $40 to tell me it wasn't a tumor, and the guy's like, "Wow, no, it's just a cold."
What's Kaiser like?
Kaiser's good.
Is it?
It is. It's a well-oiled machine.
Right.
I'm sure.
I mean, it used to be one of my first jokes was Kaiser. I mean, every California comic had a Kaiser joke.
Yeah, and I think it's probably. I'm sure there's still trouble to be had, but when I had my surgery,
Do you still have to go to a separate location, a Kaiser hospital?
they have like a campus.
Yeah.
They have like I went to Building 3, Area 262. Instead of urgent care, I tried to go to urgent care yesterday, and they said it was a 3-hour wait, or I could get a phone call from a doctor in an hour. And I was like, how's that doctor going to look down my throat and tell me whether or not I have an infection? And she goes, well, he'll just, talk you through it and tell you by your symptoms what you probably have. And I was like, and then if he thinks I might have an infection, I'll have to get back in line over here. And she's like, well, you wouldn't have to get back in line.
You could probably jump the line. That actually seems slightly effective.
Well, it was not effective for me, but I think you're right. I think it's a good way to bleed off some people's anxiety about what they might have.
Yeah.
And if they just get to talk to a professional, it'll be fine. Like today, I got to see a professional, and I felt better.
Is it expensive, Kaiser?
It is relatively. I think it's Andy pays it every. So I think it went
You guys
up.
don't talk about that stuff.
Nope. I'm like, you got those bills? Here's some comedy money, and then I pay the other bills, and he, and we kind of split up.
I think Gavin Newsom, who used to be mayor of San Francisco and now he's lieutenant governor of California, he's going to run for governor, and part of his platform is like healthcare for all in California.
Right. Yeah, I think because it's going back to the states. Everything's coming back to the states anyway.
Who knows? But you know what? You can't. To have it in the hands of these lunatics every time there's a new president is
just ridiculous.
Traumatizing.
It is traumatizing.
And I didn't get a tape. I did so many guest sets.
You did, and none of them worked?
No, nothing. I was like, someone wants to say, oh, I want it immediately. And then you send them a B plus tape, and then you never hear from them again, and you're on the... I'd rather wait and send an A.
Interesting.
That's my opinion.
Right. I used to be kind of precious about the tapes. And then I was like... The one time I did an audition, and it was an audition for a Nickelodeon thing, and I said fuck during it.
Yeah.
And I just stopped my audition, and there were like the 2 haircuts were sitting there, and I go, obviously when I'm on television, I will not swear if you choose to book me. And then I went back into my act.
But I mean, for stand-up, it's different. And I think these bookers...
I mean, I don't do late night that much. I think you're probably right.
They're responsible for the comic set, and so when they kill, they get high fives at the end of the show, and it's like, congratulations, she did a great job bringing the comic in. When the
That's true.
comic bombs, that's on the book. You know, when
That's
you
on
get
the
into the
booker.
show structure, that's kind of on the booker. And so if you're the tape you send them, it's kind of, even if, you know, it's a good set, if it's not a great audience, I think that gives them a reason to go, oh, I'm not too sure. Especially
Right,
if
if
you're
they're
not in the
nervous.
city that they're in, and if they're out at night and they see you and they know, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that go into play. But if you're going in cold, where you haven't been on the show or they don't know you,
Right.
I think it really is worth it to take the time to get, you know,
The right
a
set.
set in front of a great crowd. Get
Right.
your set in front of a great crowd. You know.
Huh. Well, I know I'm sure you're right. It's
That's step one, and then they call. You know, then you guys start going through things and stuff like that. But your first introduction should be pretty the best you can do. I think.
yeah. I've just been so tired lately that I've been a big fan of giving like 20%. I'm a big fan of like phoning it in, and I hope you're
you
into
look
it.
tired, and you have been
I've been
doing
sick,
a ton of
so,
traveling,
yeah.
and that never helps anyone get any better. You know.
Right. And it's today I had to cancel. I had a bit part on Lady Dynamite, and I had to cancel it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, but I
'Cause you were
can't.
too sick.
Yeah, this voice, it was
they
the
couldn't have
tiniest
done-
of all.
They couldn't have done it anyway. Was that voice too distracting?
I think this voice is too distracting. I mean, nobody.
I mean, only if they know you. Do we know that you're sick? I mean, other people would just go, "She's got scratchy voice."
That's what she sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
interesting.
you don't have to fire yourself. You can let them do it if they want to. You don't have to do it for you.
Well, there's
for
that.
them.
There's that, and that I'm also pouring sweat. So maybe.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. It's fine. I mean, the die is cast. They've already. It was a pretty small part too. So
All
it's,
right.
I mean, I don't get a lot of small parts, but there'll be another one, or there won't be. I can't. If I overthink it, and God knows, I will at 3 a.m. But I don't need to do it now, and then that'd be silly. But yep. Do you know what I spent the week not doing?
You just crossed out. Well, we finished that topic. Jackie
Finished
just
that
crossed it out.
Exactly.
Drop the pen.
All right, hold. You got another topic? You want to go for it?
No, I had okay, so I did a guest set at Flappers, and then when I was brought up, the mic wasn't working, and then I went up and did a guest set I did a set at the Comedy Store in the Belly Room on Tammy Jo's show,
Right.
That mic, the cord fell out. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Oh, my God.
All these things are being recorded. I'm like, come on. And then the other, okay, so I did a bunch of little spots all weekend,
Yeah.
and nothing
Trying to get
was
the 10 together.
right. And then a couple times I was like, wait, should I be doing this joke? And then so I'm disappearing from the tape, right? Mentally, I'm like, wait a minute,
Right.
this seems like a bad idea.
You've
So-
gone back into the files. No.
Yeah, or just like, wait, is this a good one for the? And when you're thinking that as you're performing, you're just not.
No, there's another layer.
A
gone.
spark is missing
Yeah.
from your eye.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I also have this separate problem of, well, you said you liked it when I didn't ask a question during
Yeah.
this joke. And I have noticed when I don't, it's about speaking Spanish, about this bit that I've kind of worked out on this show. So, but when I don't give the audience the opportunity to shout something out, they will anyway. They'll try to correct me or give me the answer, which is the punchline. That's like, I'm
Right.
gonna fucking say ayúdame in 2 minutes. Everyone shut the fuck up.
Right.
Stop,
right.
stop
right.
yelling the answer
Right,
at me.
exactly. So there has to be some sort of
I don't know. It's like a
disconnect
valve or something where I need to I let
release
them
it. Yeah, yeah.
think it all. But that's a whatever. So then I had a so Patton asked me to do Patton and Friends, Patton Oswalt, Patton and
Nice.
Friends
Oh, at Largo.
At Largo, which I've never done a set at Largo.
Right.
And I've been, of course, resentful for as long as Largo's been up.
Sure.
Because I'm like, oh, they don't like me. LA doesn't like
decades.
me. Because
Yes.
it also it represents, that scene in the 90s that very much didn't like me, and I felt like it was really cliquey, and I was just not part of that clique. So I didn't realize I had those old resentments until they went away. After I had a good set there, and then the owner was like really cool, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna book you again."
Yeah.
So then I
He's
was
great.
like, "Oh, I was still mad all that time."
Right.
Because I stopped being mad. It was like,
Because now it was removed.
yeah, it's like having a massage, and all of a sudden your neck feels better. You're like, "Oh, I didn't know it felt shitty before."
Right. I guess I was carrying that.
What a
That's
beautiful,
hilarious.
beautiful space, though. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's a nice room.
And it was packed.
And it was packed. Yeah. Did you get to see Patton set?
Oh yeah, it was lovely. It was
Excellent.
He's doing some material about normal stuff, I guess, and then he started talking about his wife, and he has this chunk that it's about a minute and a half, maybe a minute of setup, and it's basically laying out this horrible situation, and that not only does his wife is passed away, but now he has to break the news to his daughter, and then they have to go on with their lives, right? So you're just listening on the edge of your seat, going, "Holy fuck."
That's an amazing place to start that story.
Oh, amazing. And then, so he gets you there, and he, he's recovered enough to talk about it on stage where his voice isn't quavering and all that kind of stuff. And then he starts, just lining up the jokes and the funny parts of the story. He just takes the time to really put you there. And then he goes, "All right, now we're walking down this yellow brick road." And I was thinking, I wonder if it's different. Like I was with my stuff with my dad, I wonder if, like, when something like what happened to Patton is very rare. It's not likely to happen to most people.
Right,
So,
right. She was
she
much
was
too young.
very
It was
young.
unexpected.
Yeah, it's ridiculously
It was weird, yeah.
rare, and it's one of those things where you go, oh, I guess you can almost imagine yourself fitting because you feel like it won't happen to you. Mm-hmm. And versus when someone's talking about their parent dying, you're like, oh, that's going to happen.
Right.
It's a
Everybody's
different
got
sort
that.
of anxiety the crowd has. It's like, oh, fuck, I know that's coming down the pike. Versus a different tragedy where you're like, that's probably not coming down the pike. So yeah, I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah,
But-
it's fascinating that's where he started it, because
Yeah.
that's a better place to. It's a place where that doesn't expect. It's going to get you. It expects your sympathy, and it's going to get your sympathy, but it doesn't start from what. And this is probably an ill thought out phrase, but what else is podcasting? It doesn't start from a hackier place, which is she died, and then how that was dealt with, more how do I tell my child? This is it's almost like a 3/4 of a step away from the death already.
Right.
We don't have to go through his grief. We're going to
Yes.
go through his daughter's grief.
Right.
Which is a funnier place to start it, I think, because it's still super personal, but it's got the remove.
Yes, it's weird because I was thinking of you, of course, because you're almost exactly the same age that his daughter was when you lost your mom. you know?
Right.
But-
Right. Except for, of course, we were like, oh, thank God there's milk and bread.
I know.
Anyway, but
I know.
the
I mean, it's not the same at all, but you just
Age-wise,
it's more
yeah.
like I know you're fine and stuff, but then when I think of my son, even now, I mean, he's 10. I'm like, that's
would be
unacceptable.
devastating.
Nothing can happen to me here.
Right, nothing can
I
happen.
must be propped up, and
Yes.
even if I'm just under glass in a case, and he can just
Ooh, under glass.
yes, like
He
Lennon.
can just walk over and show you his current Minecraft.
Yes, yeah.
He's like, look what I'm working on.
But yeah, so
Oh, that's hilarious. So
oh, okay.
yeah,
So when I'm there and I'm so then I thought of a new I swear to God, like the other thing with all these people coming out with new hours constantly, I'm like, I've been working on the same 2-minute joke for a year and a half and it's still not right yet.
right.
But I
But
keep,
people have back-to-back hours that they're coming out
yes,
with.
I mean, I don't am I just like, what's wrong with me? And I
Oh,
wonder,
the way you write? There's nothing wrong with you. right?
No, but
Or
I mean,
you-
it's okay. So like this one chunk again was it, and it's not like I moved one. I moved something from a place and I moved it up a punchline, right? And I think it flows better. And I'm like, yes, this is the feeling I've been wanting for this thing since I
my God.
started. And I feel like if anyone watches it, they may not even notice. Like,
No,
only
they won't.
I know.
You know. But the thing is you know when you say a joke correctly and when you don't
Yes.
say a joke correctly. I did a set tonight before this.
Mm-hmm.
I asked if I could do Rabbit Hole. And so I did Rabbit Hole, and I have I have this joke that doesn't. I have jokes that don't have ends, but I have places in the jokes that have punchlines.
Yes, you do.
So I can just move those punchlines to the end of the damn joke until I write more punchlines.
Yes.
That is the rule. That is the rule of,
Yeah.
hey, you're doing stand-up comedy. You're not just telling a weird story that trails off.
Well, you
So-
don't also have to trap yourself into a thing where you're like, well, I got one thing, but I don't want to rest on those laurels. So I'm going to leave myself hanging at the end. You can protect yourself, and
Right.
Put the thing that gets a laugh at the end, and so that you have a good place to go to.
Yes.
And then see if you can find more stuff in the middle.
Forgot to do it on both of the jokes I was working on tonight, but just had to just go, okay. And at one point, I actually said to the 57 people down in Nerd Belt, I'm like, I'm sorry to milk your goodwill because it is necessary. But
like you had said that a couple times on the Saturday Late Show. Something I like. That thing didn't have a punchline.
Oh, right.
I was like, but I just enjoyed.
I know
this whole
better than to
story.
do that.
I
Yeah.
know. I was like, stop doing that.
I know,
'Cause
it's-
no one else knew it didn't have a punchline.
Exactly.
They just thought maybe it didn't end as strong as the beginning.
exactly, and
They didn't know.
They didn't
It
know.
was still enjoyable.
They've never known. 30 years later, 30 years ago, I knew not to say that. And 30 years later, I'm still saying it. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's not a... stop talking. Just let it be and go to the next thing. That's
Yeah.
the whole... I think it's weird performing sick.
Yes,
Where
I know.
I don't know. It's the energy is slightly off,
Yes.
obviously. And you power through it and you do your set, and there's nothing. And I'm actually, I don't feel that bad. I'm just, my voice is just still scratchy from having the cold. And I think there's, it's when other people go to work sick,
Yeah.
it's a different experience than going
Yeah.
to work sick when you have a stand up. So
Yeah.
when you have a stand up, see? Yes.
Well, there's times when the adrenaline takes over and you have a great set. But
Yeah, that
there's other
Saturday Second Show had a lot of chops to it.
Yes.
I like that set actually.
There's other times though when the adrenaline doesn't take over and you as you say, you're just like, I've got to get through this, and you're just relying on your past experience to come in and save you because
Yep.
you
Yeah, you're
can't
slogging through.
physically.
Right.
You can't make magic happen, so you just got to fake it. and
Yep.
hope- sometimes they notice, sometimes they don't.
I did notice I didn't get to see any of the articles. There was a lot of drama about Chappelle and Schumer's hours.
Right.
I didn't get to see either of the articles about that drama or even any of the posts where people were sad or unhappy about other people's fucking jokes.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on your own paper, fuckwits.
Oh, you mean comics?
Yeah, comics just worried about other. Supposedly, comics are worried about their Chappelle and Schumer's sets
Yeah.
on there. You know what I spent the weekend doing? Not watching 1,000 hours of other people's stand-up comedy. That's what I did because I don't want to.
Well, here's the thing. No comic's going to hit everything the way you need them to, That's why there's a lot of different comedians,
That's right.
I mean,
that is why there's a lot of different comedians.
and so many great comics, are just boneheaded about a certain topic. Right? And it's usually women. Great male comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's usually women. I was thinking, like, the last guy where I have so many comics that I think are great that sometimes I just want to go, no, what the fuck are you doing? Right.
Right,
On just
right.
one joke.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before.
Yes,
where you're
we
just
have.
Like, you're like, I just want to, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you took that to your therapist instead of taking it to the audience and worked your way through it.
You know, what people, whatever.
But and that could be anything. It's not the fact that you think that women are all, money grubbing whores,
Whatever,
or whatever
it
you think they
is,
are,
yeah.
or if I think I'm too fat. Whatever the joke is.
Yeah.
Like I used to do a lot of body image stuff when I first started, like in
Yeah.
the early 90s. And I was like, oh, I got to get it out of the way. People are thinking about it. No, they aren't. You're thinking about it. If there's one thing, they're not thinking about you at all. They want to hear a joke.
I know.
And so I dealt with my body issues off stage.
Yeah.
And they come up occasionally and nobody minds an occasional joke about how
Yeah.
your ex-wife took all your money.
Yeah.
Or you think that your left leg is too big. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But don't weigh on it because that isn't it. No, it's unnecessary and it does become redundant and it's dumb.
Yeah. But we all have, I think we've said this too, we all have blind spots. You know, we can't help it. You just can't
You just
see
keep
everything.
writing. Yeah.
Greg Giraldo was like always so, I always thought Greg was like fucking on point on everything, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that there was a bad.
There wasn't a joke where you're like, dude,
There wasn't
you
a
took
bad
the easy
pocket.
way out. You know, there's a lot of people where you're like, that was, you know what? You should have kept writing that one.
Yes.
Because it's not good enough yet.
And Greg Giraldo never came from a place
yeah.
he never came from under the joke.
Right.
He always came from above the joke.
He had like rigor, you know, when he would write a joke. And maybe it's because he was a brilliant guy. And maybe
And
he's
trained legal
Harvard.
mind.
Yeah, maybe that's the kind of, you know, when he starts writing a joke, I don't know what his exact, you know.
But I know when I first saw his long set, it's not a dick joke. Huh? Come on, ladies.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. I'll be over here. I was talking to Kindler today. Anyway, I'm not going to blame it on Kindler.
You did blame it on Kindler.
I totally did. Please bleed off some of
You
that.
know what? You could blame stuff on Kindler.
What the heck? He can take it. He's big shoulders. City of the big shoulders. So,
That's a very Mike Pence thing to say, by the way.
what?
Broad-shouldered defense. He loves the phrase broad-shouldered.
Does he?
That's what he called Trump's one good speech that he read off the prompter to Congress. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. What do you think I was talking about?
Geraldo?
Giraldo. Yeah, the long sets that I watched, I featured for him probably, it had to be 95. And after that, I only got to see him do short sets.
Yeah.
But I saw him do 7, and I stayed. because it was, there's some people that you watch their set and it's surgical, right?
Yeah.
Where they repeat they do, and it wasn't like that. It was
Yeah.
sort of like that because he mixed up the bits.
Yeah.
He did what I do, which is it's different bits, but the bits all go the same way every time I do them, right?
Yeah. Wait, you mean the order?
The order it fluctuates.
Okay.
The bits
So
within
they're not
themselves.
callback dependent.
Right. Nothing's
Okay.
callback dependent, so they can sit on their own and they can go anywhere in the mix.
Right.
And that's what he did, and so he would mix it up like that. There are other comics who do the sort of the same set list.
Me raising my hand right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But go to the audience more, and so the show can go in wacky directions.
Yeah, that's
So
what I do.
And you don't want to leave the room because you want to see what's going to happen.
Right.
Which is what you
Well, I don't know. People still might want to leave the room when I'm on stage, but I
Nobody
do a
wants to
set. I do an order so that I can go off of it and come back to it. Otherwise, it starts to get, especially if you do more than one set a night. Well, I mean, if you're only doing one set a night, you can do whatever you want. But if you're
Right.
doing 2 headlining sets, it's like
You don't
what
want to
did I
think
say?
you've repeated something.
Right.
It's the worst. The
Yeah.
worst.
Because then you start gently saying the joke and looking for recognition in the audience's eyes, and you don't see it, and you finish. But it's not strong.
I love that. Just sort of half whispering the joke. Does this sound familiar, you guys? Did I mention that my mother-in-law was a what? No. Oh,
I
that's hilarious.
would love to. Obviously, you don't want anyone to be dead, but I would love to just see what Geraldo would do right now, and I'd love to see Patrice O'Neill, what he would be talking about right now.
Yeah, I never did see his long set. I only saw that stuff on Tough Crowd, and that was all sort of forced.
Elephant in the Room was really a great special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I ever get into the
You don't have to ever watch a special,
right. But if I ever did, that'd be the one. Elephant in the Room.
I think so. I think that's the name of it.
All right.
I think he had a half hour. He had half hour on HBO. He's the one that after he got the half hour on HBO, like he said I needed to get it earlier, and when I got it, I didn't need it anymore, and it wasn't that exciting.
Oh my God,
oh
that's
my God,
hilarious.
that's my whole life.
That is, you're just like,
I
wow.
needed what you just gave me. I needed 10 years ago.
And I would have been super excited about it.
It would have made my life.
Yeah, well, except for I think I got, when I got my half hour special in 2003, it was actually a surprise, an amazing thing. And I was super, super excited. And then nobody gave a damn about it for like 3 years. It did not affect my headline, my road work at all for 3 years.
For 3 years, and then what happened? They started rerunning it or something?
It had saturated.
Yeah.
Enough bookers. It had played often enough.
Yeah.
That bookers had heard of it then.
Okay.
And I would send it out, obviously,
Yeah.
VHS, whatever. I would, and then Comedy Central started cutting them up and putting them online. But I was like, this should get me. This is going to change my life in 2003.
I'm so sick of
That's
that.
why I quit my day job in 2003.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That part of
'cause I
my
was like,
brain,
yeah.
it's still like, yeah, now it's going to happen.
and I got $15,000 in 2003. You know what the half hours pay now? $20,000. Yes, and they're buyouts, and they chop them up into whatever, and they do whatever they want with them, which is fine. Because quite honestly, I don't care. I mean, it was. I always think if I take the deal, I take the deal, right? So.
I wonder what
And
their...
at $15,000 in 2003 was a shitload of money to
That's
me.
not bad in 2003.
I was going to go to Cairo, and then they lined a bunch of people up against a wall and shot them. And then I was going to go to Bali, and then there was a terrorist attack. So I spent 3 months in New York City instead.
and then 9/11 happened, but a couple years earlier.
Right. I didn't actually go back in
reverse.
time and create 9/11.
I wonder if they're paying 20 now. I mean, they obviously have less. They have less viewers, but I wonder if their online viewership makes up for the fact that they have less actual physical TV viewers. I wonder if they're making as much money as they were in 2003. That's what I wonder. Comedy
Oh, I don't
Central.
know. Yeah, I don't know. It's because I know that because I think that they do radio play with them.
Wow.
I don't know that, but I think that they do. I know they do it on Amazon and iTunes, I'm pretty sure.
Comedy Central does?
Yeah, Comedy Central. There's a Comedy Central channel,
You don't get any of that money.
and I don't get any of that money. But I thought it was going to change my life, and it did because I quit my day job. And
What was your day job?
I worked at a closed captioning company. I did I did grunt work because
Yeah.
I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And
It's in Los Angeles?
Yeah. If like Kyle Kinane and Matt Bronger also
Yeah.
did
Oh, really?
captioning, but they did the captioning.
Yeah.
And if you close caption, you're in charge of several TV shows.
Yeah.
And so they're your babies. You can't
I
go on the
see.
road for 6 weeks.
Interesting.
But if you're me, you answer phones, you digitize things, you make sure everybody gets their thing delivered. A monkey could do that. They can hire any sort of temp, and you can go for 2 6-week runs a year,
Oh, cool. Good to
which
know.
is what my boss said I could do. It was awesome. I forgot to tell you last week is that my favorite thing that happened in the 1 million interviews, and they're continuing, by the way. Good work, PR lady.
Jess.
Yep.
She's great.
She's great. I was on Kelly Carlin's show,
Oh, cool.
and I mentioned that I had never seen her dead. I had never listened to Carlin. And
What'd she say?
She was like, "Thank God, finally." Someone who gives as little. She's like, I love my dad. I love his stand up, but
How
the
could you talk-
canonization. Yeah, everyone who talks to her has to canonize the guy so bad.
Well, maybe they feel like they have to do that to her. Like, you
right.
know.
I've known her for 3 years, pretty solid now.
Yeah.
And I've never mentioned it because I was shy to mention it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it would, I don't know, like she cares. She doesn't, I mean,
Yeah.
she's getting the residuals. She's fine.
Yeah.
and and his stuff is very funny, but parts of it
It could be ranty
because they're
Yeah.
because it's topical.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might be at 30. Do you want to do the?
No, not yet. Let's postpone. We're at 29.
That's not
You're
bad.
getting really good at
At Colin,
knowing how many
when-
laps you've done.
It's nice, nice. It's still can't open my eyes underwater though.
You can't?
No,
I never do because I have contacts in.
I always have an unsubstantiated belief that water's going to seep into my skull and it's going to explode.
Yeah, I won't.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Science.
It will be urine that will go into your head and explode. Because that's all that a swimming pool is. I finished my book.
Hey,
I sent it on
congratulations! That's
Monday
amazing.
morning. Yeah. So I spent all weekend that I wasn't doing guest sets that didn't work.
Right.
I just was in the garage. I was rewriting. I reread every single one. I wrote them. I mean, I read them all out loud.
There you go. You did it.
It took me like 5 hours on Sunday.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
How did that feel? I mean, except for exhausting, but I mean, did you hear it?
Yeah, and it
Because
was
you could hear you
yes.
can hear mistakes.
You can hear mistakes.
Could you hear
and-
possibilities too, or?
Sure, and I rewrote a few things, and I was like, oh, that's almost like a placeholder joke. I meant to change it. Sometimes you write in a cliche because you're just going fast, and you're like, whoa, that doesn't need to be in there.
Full
or
stop.
It either needs to change or it needs to come out.
You've said it out loud. That will stop you in your tracks, and you're like, "Here's a red pen.
Yeah.
I need to fix that."
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I took out about 1,000 words, so it was just shy of 34,000. So it's like 33,900.
Okay.
But I think that's okay. That's a little bit less than I think what Shitty Mom was, the total word count. So
Okay.
it's close enough. And maybe they
34.9 of something someone wants to
33.9,
read.
yeah.
33.9. That's something somebody wants to read. I don't want to read 34.9.
it's total toilet book. It's seriously. It's and you can read it in one sitting.
That is a long.
I mean, or it does. You
seriously.
don't have to be
those
shitting
two things.
during the
Those
sitting.
two things are parallel. That does not have to be the same thing.
But yeah. So so this morning they had. Oh, it's not. So they have it till April 14th, and then they come back with notes and stuff.
Okay.
So maybe I'll think of something else, like another idea for an essay. But
Yeah.
I do feel like there's no meat on that bone. I picked it clean. I have nothing left. And it's all from one death. It's my dad's death. That's it. That's all I have to work with.
Right, right.
I tried to get my mom to die during this process, and she refused. So that's all I had. That's all the clay I had to work with.
That's funny.
And then I'll get it back and see how bad it is. I remember, like with Shitty Mom,
Yeah.
I had a joke where something, I don't know what it was, but I used the word kumon as a verb. Like you don't want to, have to kumon your kid or something like that. Or I used it without explaining it.
What is it?
Kumon is it's a tutoring. It's like a McDonald's tutoring.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, they're all over the country,
Yeah, yeah.
right? KUMON.
Right.
And so that
They're in strip malls.
yes,
And you can bring your kid
yes,
there.
and I
Okay.
said every mom knows what this is, and the editor's like, I think we should explain it. And I'm like, it ruins the joke if you explain it. It's like you either get it or you don't, and I know every mom's going to get this joke,
Right.
or if they don't, they'll go, oh yeah, Kumon, just like
Right.
you did, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we left it like that. So I think there's a couple things like that where I'm just going to be like, we can't explain these jokes. You
Right.
know what? And there's
Right.
a million jokes in this thing. So if they don't get this one, they can either fucking Google for a second or move on,
Right. Yeah. Next joke. It'll be fine.
That's
Don't-
what I hate
sweat
is
it.
I think a lot of comedic books, they get people, well, you should explain that, and I don't get that, and it's like, that's okay. Okay, you don't get that one.
Yeah.
There's another one in the next paragraph.
Yeah. It's whenever anybody tells me that I should explain a joke, I'm like, I don't ever want to explain a joke.
Yes.
I want.
If it's a reference joke, you
Right.
know, like if it's one thing if the structure's muddied or something, and you
Oh
need
my
to,
God,
and the
yes.
intention needs to explain better. But if I need you to get this reference to me to explain it, there's no point. The whole it's supposed
Right.
to hit quickly, you know?
Right. And the thing is I have done it. There will be tags like, but I will wait 2 beats after. I let everybody get the joke who's going to get the joke.
Yeah.
And then I explain. Then I'll essentially explain the joke. I have done it. I shouldn't shit on it because I'll do it again in a heartbeat. Whatever. I mean, because I do want everyone to get the joke. But I love, my favorite thing is when I'm doing a joke and it's a little weird or it's a little interesting, and there's like 2 or 3 people in the audience who I can feel kind of leaning into it, going, "Is she going there?" And they're with me the whole way. They could have written this joke, right, to some extent. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of it, they laugh like a heartbeat before everybody else. And I love those people.
Yes.
That's my favorite people.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that are also kind of leaning forward going, I almost get that joke. And you're like, and then I tag it with whatever, you know, like that Hester Prynne joke, I think had it had an extra beat so that people could get it.
Yeah.
And be reminded, because everyone does know who Hester Prynne is, but sometimes you have to be reminded who Hester Prynne is.
Yes.
So that's all. It was 8th grade. Jesus. Cut people some slack. Now do it.
Dennis Miller never explained anything, right? He would tell great jokes.
But he went off the deep end, right?
Well, yeah, but before
with
he went off the
references.
deep end.
No, not even politically. I mean, reference-wise, he went off the deep end.
Right, exactly.
Something worked.
Some of the laughs
And-
are because you knew you're supposed to laugh then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bullshit. Because the thing is he used to just write jokes that had references.
Right.
And some of them were weird and obscure and funny.
And weird analogies and yeah.
Right. He started, it was sort of like Foxworthy or it's his material's
style.
fine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you got a hook and
Yeah.
you grab that hook.
Yeah.
In this case, it was the hook of being the erudite, weird thesaurus of a comic.
Yeah.
And he started just stacking up bullshit references where you're like, stop it. And because I used to really, I liked him, because I liked, there was some nice, some nice weird left, some left field stuff that was
Turns,
great.
yes.
Yeah, it was fun. And then if it's a trap that we could all fall into. Like, what if you got a hook tomorrow? What if your hook was the shitty mom, dead dad hook, and it took off, and you could only talk about your dead dad and your crazy ass mom?
I'd leave the business.
Right, because you don't want to do it.
Right.
You want to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. Because you got integrity. No, you're self-absorbed. It's
Yeah, and I'm bored easily. I don't want to be
Right.
boxed in.
well, that's it. I mean, and that's what those hooks do. I think.
Yes,
they
for
box
sure.
you in.
Yeah.
And I don't want that either. I mean,
I don't know that was his style more than a hook, I think.
but it ended up being the hook.
I guess, but he might genuinely like to speak that way anyway.
Sure,
I mean,
but-
he can apply it to any topic he wants to talk to.
But he had a
talk about.
writing staff who were finding like weird, King Tut references and
Well,
like
two of them write on Conan now, so
and those are good writers.
oh yeah, they're great.
But but he had a staff of people to find those weirdo Magoo
yeah,
like
three,
references,
actually. Yeah,
and he started using it on purpose. That's what I mean by a hook. Just because
Okay.
it was smarter than I'm a redneck doesn't
Yeah.
mean it isn't a hook,
Oh,
in
yeah.
my opinion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's. You remember when we were all supposed to have a hook? It was. I remember Mitch Fatel told me to never lose weight. Oh my god. He said, your thing's going to be that you're the fat chick who's smart.
what?
And I was like, out loud? I'm
Oh
right
my
fucking here in the middle of
God.
Pittsburgh, bitch.
What is wrong with people?
Well, wait a minute.
Oh.
That was the other thing.
yeah,
I did 1 million interviews in the last 3 weeks. 3 different people asked me why I didn't have children.
oh, interesting.
To the point where I was like literally the last 2, I was like, well, and I just answered it very seriously and sincerely. And now I'm like, no, that's not the right way to. I should have riffed off of it, but but I'm like, I don't know that they were.
That's such a loaded question to ask a woman. You know,
It made me think of
it's a
Kirkman.
hugely personal question. You
Yeah.
know, whether it's a choice or not a choice, it's still a huge thing.
Right. I told two strangers over the phone that I've had a miscarriage. Did they need to know that? Was that something?
They
How do you-
asked, right?
Exactly. I missed
They
my
said
period
why?
this month.
They didn't say do
I might
you.
be
They
pregnant.
said why?
Yeah, they said why. And and it was
Men?
yeah. Yeah. It was two men. It was weird.
I can't imagine a woman asking that, actually. I mean,
Why would she care?
yeah.
And she'd be like, "Well, I have other questions to ask." Yeah.
Wow. So did you just say you've missed your period?
Yeah, I mean, I could be pregnant now, or it could be over, you guys. It could be over.
Either way, it's over.
Either.
I got news for you. Something's
Could you
over.
imagine? Oh my God, some three-eyed kid with like the IQ of
People
a
do
carrot.
it. Janet Jackson just had a kid at 50.
I know, but she has a team. She has enough money to buy a team.
Yeah. Who knows how that went down?
Yeah,
but
I feel very
it's
Handmaid's
very
Tale.
rare. It's incredibly rare.
Super rare. Patton Oswalt used to do this joke about how it's probably 15 years ago, so some 50-year-old woman having it. He's like, I just don't want to see the crowning head between those gray pubic hairs.
Oh my God.
And you're like, wow, out loud again. So it was such a beautiful image, though. And I was like, oh, life coming from that crazy.
There was
It made me laugh against my will.
yeah,
That joke.
I know. I like jokes like that. We're like, come on, all right.
All right, he made me. Congratulations.
There was a show. Fuck, it was just on for like a season, and I think it might have been Claudia. Do you know Claudia Lanau?
No,
She
maybe. Of
she's,
course.
her she had it. She was like related to somebody who worked or owned some of the improvs, I think.
Okay.
But she has had a couple shows on the air, and the last show she had
Was
on
she
the
married to Mark Leno?
no,
Okay.
not married to him.
Okay. Second cousin. Who gives a shit?
I don't
I'm
know.
so sorry.
I'm just saying she's had like 3 network shows on the air,
Okay.
which is
That's a lot.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that is incredible.
And the last one was a woman. She's the one that I keep every time I'd write an idea. Claudia Lanau had actually just got it on the air. I'm like, God damn it. Damn it. Every time I had like beats written out and stuff, but it was like a single mom, and then I think this was hers. It's such a quick joke. I don't know why I'm wasting all this time on it. There was
Because we got time.
there was a mom. It's true. There was a mom in kindergarten with very long gray hair. And
Yeah.
clearly, it was one of those births that had been done at the very last moments of fertility. It was pretty funny.
Yes. Well, keep posted. I'll let you all know how my menstrual cycle's coming along next week.
We hope.
Yes. Yes, we do.
So I have lots of stuff coming up.
Yeah?
You know, we're doing Birmingham, Alabama.
Yep.
Together.
Mm-hmm.
We're showing up. We're flying into Atlanta and driving to Birmingham
Right.
to do a live podcast and a show.
I can't believe that you okayed that. I tried to talk them into flying you another step.
You know what? Maybe that was a terrible error.
But it's usually just one of those local Birmingham guys, and those guys are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really nice
they'll
comics down there.
pick us up
They'll pick us
at
up and drive.
Atlanta?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we
Pick us
flying in together?
Why don't we?
Yeah,
I might
sure.
fly in before you because they
Okay.
might want me to do more shows.
Yeah.
Because you got the job.
Yeah.
But we're also
So I'm
doing,
taking a red eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're doing Bridgetown.
I'm doing this thing 3 times. I'm taking a red eye and doing a podcast during the day and show at night, and then flying back on Sunday to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean Birmingham. We're doing that again together at Bridgetown in Portland. Then I'm doing the Women in Comedy Festival in Boston.
Oh, cool.
I just bought that plane ticket. Almost
Right.
$700.
Boston's ridiculous.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, flying out, I've taken a red eye, and I'm doing like an interview or some sort of thing in the afternoon, and then doing 2 shows at night, and then flying back out. That's a lot.
It is a lot. So I wasn't.
It's good though. I'm glad.
It is good.
Yeah.
I am going to Ireland
Where?
for some festival.
Killarney?
Dublin.
Oh my god!
I've never been to Ireland, but I feel almost that I have because you have. And Andy hasn't been since he was with his last girlfriend.
Where are you working?
It's some Dublin comedy festival.
Oh my god!
Right.
When I
and
was
it's at the end of July, I think.
oh man,
It's going to be moist. It's going to be like living inside somebody's mouth, I assume.
that's so cool. Oh no! When I was there, it's gorgeous. It's
Okay.
really
It's
nice
not rainy?
weather.
Okay.
No, not then.
Okay.
It's like Seattle, where there's just like a couple. There's like 1.5 good months a year.
Okay.
Oh wow! Do you know where you're staying?
I don't. No, I just heard that I'm going to Dublin.
Are they putting you up?
Yeah. And then Andy wants, instead of going to France again, second year, we were going to go to France again.
Yeah.
And stand next to Paleozoic caves. But no, this time he was like, as long as we're over there, let's go to Iceland. And I was like,
Yes.
well, you and he should go to fucking Iceland. No, I'm willing to go to Iceland, but it's like it's never been the place that I've always wanted to go to, but
Yeah.
it's the place he's always wanted to go to.
Gotta go.
So we're going. Yeah.
Oh wow! Because I think I'm going to be the first week in August is when I'm going to do my Luxembourg trip with my son.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Go stare at your roots.
Yeah. Do you know where your mother's the Irish part of you is from? What county or any? Do you know that? Have you done any
The
of
word
that?
county was, you know that
Well,
they
yeah,
never,
they're all counties.
okay. Well, they never talked to us after she died. It's
What was your mom's name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Well, that's a very unusual name.
Yeah, it's going to be a super
I'm
hard
from
name.
Ryan's as well.
Are you from Ryan's
Yes,
as well?
my
we could be related.
yes, probably not. I wonder if you're related to Paul Ryan though. If he's from Wisconsin, if he's part of people that
Probably.
settled. Okay,
Yeah, probably from that's probably the
Wisconsin.
shittiest part of my. Yeah, anyway.
you know Paul Gilmartin.
Yeah.
Okay, so Partis had this long-running joke where he always asks us if we're related, and it's like, no, they're different names.
My phone thinks that you're related. Every time I say call Lori Kilmartin, it's calling Paul Gilmartin.
Well, his ancestor may have changed the name, or it was changed. You know, who knows when these people did? Because I'm
Is
on
Kilkenny a thing?
It's a county, and
It is-
there's
that might have been
also Killarney, yeah, Kilkenny, yes.
Okay.
So you're doing Kilkenny?
No, I think that that's where my grandmothers were from.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, that's very near Cork.
Sure. And the whole of Ireland's pretty small, right? Andy
Yeah,
wants to
but
rent
I
a
think-
car and drive around. I have,
Oh, my
I have an
God.
old friend who lives in Ireland, and he has an old friend who lives on the coast, and so he wants to go to the coast.
Which coast? The whole thing's a coast. It's an
Right,
island.
it's an island, the western coast. He wants to go west.
Wow.
So I'll
have-
get you an itinerary.
They're doing this thing. Yeah, please do. It's called the Wild Atlantic Way. And
Okay.
so they've marketed the road. It's like Monterey. It's like going up.
Oh, wow.
It's like going up Highway 1.
Yeah.
And 101. It's so beautiful. I mean, you can't go wrong. Literally, you will stumble into magical things.
Right. I'm looking.
But it'd be
I'm looking
cool
forward
if
to
you
it.
could, if you could go find the
people.
ruins,
Yeah.
that they came from.
Yeah.
You know, or if you could
I could
figure
go to
out
the north
which-
side of Milwaukee and find the ruins. And like, boom, thanks. Yeah,
It's
so
really amazing to do that. You
Yeah.
know? You just think,
well, and you just came from that, right? You guys went all over the island, right?
Yeah.
and
yeah.
that's neat. So yeah, I mean,
There's a room in Dublin. It was called the Metropolitan. I told you it's right. I just walked by and it's this comedy 7 nights a week. I'm like, all right. So I figured out. I found
Yep.
just emailed and found the person and did a spot. It was pretty cool. But
and then it was
my
a work trip.
We stayed. Again, I didn't know what anything was. You know what locations were good and stuff. So I got an Airbnb, a room inside an apartment that was in like one of the Georgian townhouses on Grafton Street. It was like Grafton Street like switches over and it becomes a different street. You know,
Okay.
they do that a lot in Ireland where a street's just like 200 yards long, and then there's a tiny switch, and then it turns into another street.
Okay,
And so I was on a little offshoot of Grafton, but I was like, oh my God, this is a famous street, Grafton Street, you know?
what's it famous for?
It's just like old shops, and it was in U2 sings. I forget the song where they sing about it.
Okay.
And it
I probably can't get it off my iPod.
Sort of like like the Broadway of Dublin.
Oh,
as far
nice.
as from what I know,
Right.
my limited knowledge.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was really cool to just all of a sudden be there and be in Phoenix Park and be right near where they, the British were firing on Irish, and you can go to the post office. You can see the bullet holes where, right prior, during the rising,
Right.
before they executed them in the jail. You should go to Kilmainham jail. It's so unbelievable. It's really
We went to a jail in Australia that was so old it was spelled GAOL.
the same with gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how old that jail is. And so they showed us the cells, and the cells were so small that you couldn't even lie down. You'd literally, I've seen it described in books. The cell was so small you couldn't lie down. I was like, well, what does that mean? Are they just shower stalls? No, it means you could sit down with your knees bent, but that was it.
Wow.
And you were and there was like a sliver of light above, or there was no light. And you're like, wow, and they kept people in these jails for years. And you're like, what are you doing?
During the after the rising, they the British, most of the Irish people were not into this civil war. It's just like, what these fucking assholes are ruining Dublin.
Right.
But then the British started executing the Irish soldiers that had participated in it, and that's what turned everyone against the British. But one of them, I forget which one, he had he'd been injured and he was dying, right? Like he was going to die.
Yeah.
And so the British, they took him up and they stood him up, and then they shot him to death in this jail. It
Wow.
was just like, what the fuck?
It was like he just wasn't dying fast
Yeah,
enough
word
for
gets
you.
out of that, and everyone's like, fuck you,
Right.
war. Yeah.
What is it good for, you guys?
Oh, you're tired. You are tired.
Tell
You're
people
trying.
about
I
Gina.
appreciate
Tell
it.
people about
Yes,
Gina.
our comic of the week, Gina Brion.
Gina Brion, who is a New York comic.
Yeah.
And I went down a YouTube rabbit hole of hers after saying that I'm not watching anybody's comedy specials. I want Gina Brion to have a comedy special.
She's very funny.
She might already have one, but she's really freaking funny, you guys.
and I knew her when she was a little puppy.
Just a baby
starting.
comic?
Yeah.
Baby comic?
Just was here out all the time, working
Working
doing
it,
all the
working
shitty
it.
gigs, all the, just out constantly, working really hard. And then I saw her, I didn't see her for maybe 6 or 7 years. And then I saw her, I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? You're really good.
That's so awesome.
I love when that happens.
Me too,
I
man.
love it. I love when people get all their stage time in. They start they just start pushing themselves and writing harder, and
Yeah.
it shows.
Plateau, and then you don't know when it's going to happen. You jump.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You might not
everything
even notice it. Other people come up
Other
to you
people
like,
notice
"What
it. Yeah, that's
happened?"
it. That's it. And then initially you're offended because they're like, "Oh my god, you got really funny in the last year," and you're like, "What? What do you mean?"
Yeah. I've always been funny.
I've always been funny, and
a fraud.
clearly I'm funnier now. But I'm glad you finally get it. I remember the first time I said that to a booker. I didn't say
Really?
it to the booker. I said it adjacent to the booker so that the booker would continue to book me. And but I said, it's great that he finally gets that I'm funny. And without really realizing that I probably had gotten funnier. Because you know what? It's a
Yeah.
learned skill.
It is.
So there you go.
That's what I worry about. Like, when we're working on monologue jokes, right? And we're, when we pick like 10 maybe or 8, we start to whittle them down, and then there's like 4 or 5 or 6 eyes on each joke going, do you need this word? Or do we need to add a word to this right here just to slow it down a little bit? And so you start doing this microsurgery on, 15 or 20 word sentences.
Yeah.
You, 4 of the writers, Andy Richter and Conan O'Brien, we're all just sort of like going, yeah.
A
And so-
laser pointer.
Yeah, but I'm starting to, like, I kind of now do that with all my jokes. And I feel like, is
Oh,
this
right.
taking
You may
so
not have to.
long to turn any material over? Because I'm like, wait a minute. This joke, could I get to this
It
punchline
could
one
be.
word sooner? And then I try it and then I'm like, no, now it's too soon. And it's this nonstop tinkering.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's good or bad.
No, I don't know if it's good or bad either, but it might be a fun writing exercise to just let yourself go up. Have you heard of this thing that they I was talking to Martha Kelly tonight, and she's doing the Acme Crash and Burn week.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever done the Crash and Burn
I
week?
haven't. I'd love to.
You should do the Crash and
I
Burn week.
want
You got to do
to.
20 new minutes that have never been spoken out loud on Tuesday night. And then you do 7 shows, and you can do some of the stuff you did on Tuesday and Wednesday and the rest of the week, or you could start over every night and just try to find something that
And the
works.
audience knows.
They know going in. I got
They know
two.
it might suck going in.
I remember I got two bits out of it, but it was
That's a lot.
It was plenty. It was, like I remember coming out of it thinking I got 12 new minutes, and then 6 months later I got 3 new minutes. It's ridiculous. And the other thing that's been happening with all the interviews is there's a fancy interest in the genocide bit.
Oh.
People are fancily interested in that, and so I might do.
Well, what do you mean they're interested? They're asking you more questions about the genocide or what?
Well, I
Or
might
your
do a
family?
piece on
Take it out a bit more?
Yeah, well, so I might get to do a fancy show.
She
where-
just wrote something down.
I wrote something
and
down, you
My
guys.
jaw just dropped.
and your jaw dropped. So it's I'm showing it to Kyle.
That
would be
his
nice,
jaw
right?
is also his jaw raised, but
Oh,
it was
there you go.
for both of us. It
I
was
think you
jaw
guys
action.
were being very supportive, but it would be neat to get to do whatever.
yeah.
And so that's something I might do, and
Yeah.
then
So are you thinking of adding to it then?
that's what they want me to do. They want to find more stuff, and I was like, well, because my great aunt also wrote a 2-page memoir of what she remembered about the genocide,
Yeah.
like sort of the highlights.
2 pages.
2 pages of just the bullet points of her not being killed and almost being killed and then not being killed.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the woman I was talking to said, you know what, really, it was a very 2017 kind of production kind of note, because you know how everybody we're all in these little niches, right?
Yeah.
And so clearly she has some like OCD control issues, because she was like, I kind of want to just hear all about the bread that your grandmother left in the oven. And I was like, well, we'll never know. And she's like, yeah, doesn't that kind of drive you a little nut? And I was like, no, not me. But clearly other people might really care. Like whatever did happen to it. I have thought about the bread. I assume that someone got off their horse and got the
I
bread out
hope they
because
turned
of
the oven off and there wasn't a fire.
Right, I hope that the home that they had lived in for hundreds of years, the rock home that they had lived in.
Hundreds?
Yeah, that my family, they had lived in that.
Now, do
stupid
you know where
little-
that is? Can you go visit it?
There are you cannot go visit it.
Why?
The Turks. It is.
It's part of Turkey now?
It was part of Turkey then, but they
Oh.
razed they completely destroyed the towns. The towns are no longer on the maps.
Wow.
Yeah, they're just gone, and they're like, no, there were no towns there.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, then why are there names of those towns, you big weirdos? And so
Wow, calling someone a weirdo, that's
I don't mean to. Hey,
little bit
banana
much,
heads,
lady.
banana heads.
it's a little bit much.
I don't mean to slow everybody down.
Oh my, are we close to
Yep, 57.
Oh, 57.
Don't you have
So-
to be on a plane in 5 hours?
Yes.
5.5 hours?
Yes, I
You
do,
have to
'cause
be, it's not you have to wake up for the plane. You have to be on the plane at 5?
7 a.m.
Why did you get such an early flight to
Right, because
Spokane?
I don't know why. It must have been the cheapest one, because clearly I'm not going to be able to check into my
Oh dear.
hotel until 3. Nobody can check into anything until 3.
Jackie, no.
I know,
you're
so
sick. What
I know.
about, can you, it's Delta, right?
Yeah, maybe I can lurk.
No, but can you
Change my
change
flight?
your flight?
Maybe.
It's worth it. You need your sleep.
Oh, I know why. Because I get in, because there's a layover.
Where?
It's in Seattle.
For how long?
I don't know, but I actually get to Seattle at like 1:30. And so I need to
No, it's 2.5 hours to Seattle. You're going to get in there at 9:30.
9:30. So then I think my flight out of Seattle is 3 hours. I must have a 3-hour layover or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I can call and see if there's a later
See
leave.
if there's a later
LAX
flight.
This seems important.
I mean, you only have one show tomorrow night, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to get there till 6.
True, but here's my whole thing: is I have a thing that I like to do, where I like to lie down
Oh.
around 3:00
Oh, I
to
see.
5:00, and then stare deeply into a shitty novel, and then I like to get up at 5, meander around, get some dinner, and then go over to the club.
I gotcha.
And then people like to bring at that club, no, Tacoma, they bring pot Rice Krispie treats. And I was like, why would you
Get
ruin
booked back there.
a perfectly good Rice Krispie treat by putting pot in it in who knows what dosage? I mean, that's the thing about those edibles. It's the dosage. You don't even
This
know.
time next year, it's legal in California.
This time next year, you guys, if we're all here.
I'm going to be,
Let's do
I'll
it.
be high every podcast. As long as I can't be arrested, I'm doing everything.
I have never seen you drunk, high, or any of
know.
it. I literally, there's part of me that doesn't want to. I think you'll shatter into a million pieces. I'm going to Peoria the week that this goes. So
Okay.
if you're anywhere in Illinois,
I'll
come and see me.
be the weekend that this drops. I will be in New York City for a full week. I'll be. Oh man, we'll
gotta figure
it
something out.
Yeah, I'll be there April 1st through the 8th.
All right.
Yeah, so come see me. Stand up. Okay, bye.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.